statement, and we'll jump into questions.
Appreciate you being here. Obviously, next week's it's the next week for us. It's the next couple games, but obviously it's a highlight to our non-conference schedule, going to battle for Atlantis and being in a 8-team field with 7 top 100 teams in the country. So it's a heck of an opportunity for us to play against some of the best teams and to see where we currently stack up, and obviously spending the next 5 days getting prepared for Vanderbilt, but also trying to make sure we improve as a team and figure out how to how to be prepared for 3 games in 3 days. So looking forward to what's in front of us. I know the guys are, and we'll go down there and see what we can do.
Let's just start with coaching in these MTEs. Of course, obviously it mirrors what's going to be later in the conference tournament where you've got these back-to-back-to-backs. How do you handle your rotations, the scouts for not even knowing who you're going to be playing from day to day? How do you go about this?
I mean, the scouts are, our staff's been working on this event probably for a few weeks now. Vanderbilt, South Florida, and VCU all get a complete full scout before they're done already. So I think the other 4 teams, you kind of watch from afar a little bit, and I think there'll be a scout done for them. But obviously, if we play any of those 4, it'll be after 2 games, and I think the 2 games in the Bahamas has a bigger impact than probably what a team is a lot different 2 games later. So we'll be a lot different in game 3 than we are in game 1, because you're forced to learn and you're forced to grow and you're forced to make changes based on what you see. But those first 3, Vanderbilt, VCU, and South Florida, I know the staff has that divided. We have very thorough scouts. We'll probably work a little bit on some simple stuff with VCU and South Florida without addressing it as being VCU and South Florida. We'll work on Vanderbilt very directly. But I would just tell you they're all 3 are offensive juggernauts. The similarity is that our defense needs to be very good. I'd say Colorado State, Wichita State, Virginia Tech, and St. Mary's are all offensive juggernauts. These teams have some similarities in their ability to put about 100 points on the board and to get you from all 3 levels. So we know what's in front of us. As far as rotations and all that, I promise you, I'm not going to spend an ounce of time thinking about rotations and how to manage 3 games in 3 days. You try to win the game that's directly in front of you, and we're going to try to give everything we got for Vanderbilt on Wednesday.
I'm wondering, just your personal history, have you been to the Bahamas before? Is this a new venue for you? And back in your time, I was going to ask you about this at Indian Hills. What would you consider the most exotic locale that you coached in?
I've never been to the Bahamas before. I've never been to Atlantis or the Bahamas for vacation or for basketball. Back a long time ago at Providence, we played in Anaheim and played in Puerto Rico, so I've been part of these MTEs a few times. 2 years ago, we went to Montreal, Quebec, Canada, which wasn't the most exotic location. In junior college, probably the biggest event is considered the Fiesta Bowl Classic in Arizona, and we played in that, and we won that one time, and I think went 2-1 in that one time. So those are 3 games and 3-day type events that are very comparable, with some of the best teams in the country. So I think, whether it's a national tournament or whether it's events like that, you get in these situations, and at the 2-year level, you play a lot of back-to-backs, to be perfectly honest with you. In the non-conference in November and December, there's a lot of back-to-backs. You go on a trip and you have to play Friday, Saturday night. So the preparation and how to handle those things, I guess, to me, every game is one game at a time. If you ever don't address, if a game's ever out of hand in the last 10 minutes either direction, maybe then you think about, the next game a little bit and preserving bodies. I will always consider just our guys with injury history. Obviously, we'll manage that. These are not, there's no game down on this trip with 3 games in 3 days that's worth any of our guys that have missed significant time with leg injuries in their past to push through and tough it out. No, there's nothing like that. This is an experience that we're going to do the best that we can while keeping the long-term focus of our season in perspective. But I think we're looking forward to it, and these trips they're always cool experiences that you always, it reveals your character. I don't know if it builds your character, but these trips show you who you really are at this point. So I think we're going to come back in a week or 2 from this trip, and we'll have a much clearer idea of exactly what we're made of as a team.
Yeah, obviously the focus is on playing these games and winning these games, but do you make that time for a little bit of team building, a little bit of enjoying the experience? What's the itinerary for you guys?
You only get so much time on the court, so there'll be some time, and if you just watch. If you watch 6 hours of film, just so you know, you'll lose them a little bit. So yeah, I think it will just naturally, probably Monday night and even during the day on Tuesday. I know our practice time is 10 to 12 on Tuesday, so that afternoon, I'm sure there'll be some time. I think some friends, some supporters, family. I think there's a lot of people going down on the trip, so we'll try to make sure that they have a healthy balance. But obviously, when we do put in work, we work as hard as we can and get focused. But at the same time, I don't think you obsess for 14 hours a day on that's not what we do to usually be successful. So you try to get them a healthy dose of practice, a healthy dose of film, a healthy dose of making sure they know the scout, but at the same time you want them to enjoy the experience and be able to play with a clear and healthy mind on Wednesday at noon.
Hey, you mentioned too, you don't want to risk any unnecessary injuries by overworking these guys in this short amount of time. Two leading guys minutes-wise this year, Teagan and Terrion, both of whom didn't play at all last year. Is there a little extra concern with those two playing back-to-back-to-back like that?
On a personal level, probably a little bit for me with Terrion, just because he's missed 31 straight months, and that's a knee injury that's been repaired twice. I think, Teagan's been healthy since January, so I think Teagan has about 10 months of kind of daily, day after day after day grind to it, but obviously Terrion's just played, 4 to 6 if you count the exhibition games in the last 2.5 years. So I'll be honest, I keep my eye on him a little bit. He's probably the specific person I'm talking about when I say there's nothing. I mean, if on day 2 that there's some soreness or some swelling or something like that, I mean, we're not going to risk Terrion's career and his season and everything that's in front of him. So, you could replace him with any player. There's no we're gonna there's never an injury risk to play through to try to. No game is more important than the other. I mean, it's a 31 game season, and we're hoping to play 3 plus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever it is after the season. So it's a long stretch in front of us, and obviously the 3 games in 3 days is something different and new for some of these. Noah missed a lot of last year. Cam had a wrist injury last year. Blaze has some knee things. So I'll even add Kate Unseld's knee. So I'll even add those 4 guys to it as well. We just have some guys that it's been a long time since they played 3 games in 3 days. And while I would like us to be perfect, that is the positive to having 15 available bodies, and I think that our team as a whole is built to handle the 3 games in 3 days.
Just back to Teagan too, I think he's leading you guys in scoring and rebounding, 18-something a game. Part of that maybe is the way that you guys have been defended this year, and that you are able to attack the paint a lot, which is kind of his game. But do you feel like he can maintain those kind of numbers all year, or is it really going to fluctuate based on what you guys see?
I genuinely am not sure. I don't think his goal should be to maintain any kind of numbers. We actually talk about that a lot. I don't think any player should try to either maintain or build statistics. I think when you got to stay in the moment and play the game with your teammates. And again, I think rebounding is the only thing you can selfishly do. So I do want them to maintain and grow rebounding. But if everybody tries to be the best rebounder they can be, then I would hope that Bryant's rebounding numbers go up. I would hope the Big's rebounding numbers go up. I hope that Grant's rebounding numbers go up. I hope Terrion's a great rebounder for a guard. LJ's numbers should go up. So I guess that one, you hope that the effort battles, and you hope that our team rebounding gets better, and whatever that turns into. Teagan needs to be a better defensive rebounder. He's been a great offensive rebounder this year, but he needs to continue to improve on the defensive rebounding side. Scoring wise, I think he can do more than just attack the basket. So I think he needs to continue to have confidence when that ball hits him, on the 3-point line. The stats don't count, but he made 2 threes versus UAB that were very big for us, and I think Teagan has confidence and ability to make some shots, and even how some of these teams go. We're going to have to drive and kick. We're going to have to get a paint touch where teams are going to, continue and start to collapse on us even more. So we have to be comfortable to score in a lot of different ways, and I really just hope that Teagan stays present in the moment, takes what the defense gives him, and whatever results that are individually, we'll trust that, if he keeps doing what's in the team's best interest, that I think he'll continue to have a great year.
Just looking at this first matchup to Vanderbilt, it's early, obviously, but just looking at some of the national numbers, Vanderbilt leads the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio. You guys are what, 7th in turnover margin at 7.2, tied for 12th.
Yep.
So that's an interesting matchup right there. Can you kind of talk about how that might play out?
Yeah, I think we've both done a good job at not turning the ball over. I think they're a little more drive and kick and have been shooting it better than us, so their assist numbers are a little bit higher. But I think we're both very, very high up there in not turning the ball over. But I would tell you that we each have, I think they have 3 of the top 50 players in the country in steal percentage. For us, Armella Boone's in that group as well, and Terrion Murdix and Tegan Moore are good. They're not quite at that level, but we expect them to be. So we each have some guys that can force mistakes, and I think both teams have done a good job at not causing mistakes or not creating mistakes when they have the ball and making sure we get shots up. So, yeah, I would think if some team has in the game, if one team has 16 turnovers and one team has 6, I think that's 10 extra possessions. That'd be a huge advantage, and both of us have done good at not having 16 turnover type games so far. So, I think, I think we got to control. We got to make sure we don't get loose with the basketball. Their guards, especially the guard Collins, he's an unbelievable defender, and he puts a lot of pressure on you, and his instinct and physicality, their physicality on defense is a real disturbance. They are not hesitant. They are grown. They're old. They're strong. They will try to. The more physical team will probably win the turnover battle, just because you will force mistakes by playing with that level of physicality. You want to be as physical as you can, without getting in the bonus and causing fouls. And they seem to. I think that is their strength on defense. Those guys are very experienced. I think the 3-man lineup of McLaughlin, Miles, and Tanner is. That doesn't even include Collins. I think it's second best in America as far as efficiency on both ends of the floor, plus minus or something like that. So their top 6, 7, 8 players, they go 12 deep, but their top 6, 7, 8 players have been playing at an outstanding level, taking care of the ball, scoring on offense, and causing mistakes when they're on D.
Right, I think they've scored over 100 4 or 5 times.
It appears that way.
Yeah, and just to me, kind of a typical Vanderbilt team that they can shoot too. I think they're about 40% from 3. So certainly can test you guys in ways that maybe haven't been this year.
No, they're a top 10 team in America by everything except an AP poll and coaches poll says that they're a top 10 team in the country right now. They had a 12-point win at UCF, they were up by 20-something points for most of the game. They've had some very convincing victories. Haven't really been tested much, and and obviously if we can keep that game close and battle them, hopefully that puts them in a situation where that maybe they haven't been through. We've been fortunate enough to be, both at UAB and an exhibition and at Eastern Kentucky, we've been in 2 situations where we've had to kind of gut it out and pull out close games, and we've been successful both times. So, there's, maybe that, if we can, kind of hang in there and cause them to be a little bit uncomfortable and make that game close, hopefully that's something that, our experience can be a benefit. But man, that's easier said than done. They've been very convincing in everything that they've done. I haven't seen on film anybody make them uncomfortable quite yet. So we have about 5 more days to try to figure out how to do that.
And just looking again at national numbers, you guys are tied for 5th and free throws per game at 34. 6th, tied for 6th and makes 25. But you could do even more with that, I suppose. How do you feel about the way you guys have been shooting free throws this year?
Yeah, I think we've been getting the line, and we try not. To me, free throw, you try not to overthink it. I think we've been solid. I don't know that we've been perfect, but we've been solid. I think, I think we have confidence in our guys to hit them throughout the game, and I certainly have confidence in them to make them under pressure. So I feel like our free throw shooting has been fine. We work on it, you stay consistent with it, but to me it's not something you overthink about. But I think we've been getting to the line. I think we've been doing a good job at being, pretty efficient from the line. Obviously the 3-point shooting is what stands out. I think we've gotten good looks in the EKU game. I thought we got good looks in the Tennessee State game. Obviously versus Bethel we got kind of, a couple guys got going a little bit. So again, this is a game where we don't want to overthink that either, but that's the area where, the driving kicks this game. I think when we were down at EKU without 7 or 8 minutes to go, I literally thought to myself, man, we're playing pretty well. We just haven't been able to throw it in the ocean, and we're gonna have to shoot that shot with just as much confidence as free throws. So I think, to me, shooting is you work on it every day, you stay consistent with it. My teams have always been a little bit more 3 happy than drive happy, so it's almost a little bit uncomfortable for me how much we're struggling, how much the numbers slant that way. But at the same time, you know, with that being the struggle and with us being 5 or 6 months in as a team, these guys know I believe in what they're capable of, and they know that we get make the right shots and move that ball, man. They should be playing with a lot of comfort and confidence on offense. So, you know, all in all, I think that we got to continue to be a well-rounded team and score in different ways. But I would say the paint and the free throw line has been our strength, and just those drive and kick threes we got to keep getting better at.
How valuable is having a common opponent and having both played Eastern Kentucky for you guys?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's valuable or not. I think I hear more and more people, well, you did this versus them, and they played them at home 2 days after a war with us. Like, I watched that game. You can find some things maybe, but I know I wouldn't have wanted to go to Vanderbilt and play it there 2 days after playing that game in Eastern Kentucky. So, I thought that was a very tough situation for EKU. EKU didn't quite look like the same team that we saw when I watched that game. So, I don't know if that's, they play a unique style. We'll watch the game and you put it all in perspective, but I'm not really sure that you gain a whole lot from that.
We touched on this post game too. This venue, obviously unique. Is there anything you can do to prepare for it? And I haven't been there, but I understand the ceilings might be a little lower than normal. I don't know.
I've heard that too. We get in there on Tuesday morning at 10, and we get in there at 7 a.m. before the game on Wednesday. So I guess the best thing you can do is get in the building and get used to it. I think that's every environment you play in, every building you play in, big, small, whatever, is a little bit different. And I don't know, sometimes if you focus too much on the things you can't control, you can get distracted. So obviously we can't do anything but get in there twice for about an hour, and we're going to do that, and we'll make sure that sometimes you use that opportunity to get shots up and be comfortable and just get a kind of a sense of feel and a sense of space. So we'll try to do that, but I'm not sure what else you do to simulate that. I mean, we practice in our practice gym about 80% of the time, and there's tight walls and low ceilings, and there's a gray wall on one side behind the basket, and there's a weight room on the other side. So, and I don't think it really affects us. So I think it's a lesser adjustment, to be honest with you, because we practice, and I'm sure Vanderbilt does too. We all have practice gyms that are very probably size-wise comparable to this, and sometimes those bigger arenas are actually the bigger adjustment just because of what we're used to. So I don't know what else you do. I think you don't over-focus on the things that you can't control, but we'll get in there twice, and we'll try to do everything we can to make sure we're comfortable, and it'd sure be good to shoot that ball well on Wednesday midday.